Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host with the biggest nose, JC Courtside, coming at y'all today on Wednesday, July 22nd. Good morning and welcome back, everybody. I'd like to say thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, I want to get right into the show because we have a lot to cover. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about LeBron's leak on where he's going because it sounds like a real possibility. And then after that, you guys know the series that we're doing throughout the summer where we go through each team individually, talk about where they're at, how they're looking, and where they're going, right? Today, we're doing three teams in this episode. We are going through, in order, the Brooklyn Nets, because you guys know we're going all alphabetical, the Brooklyn Nets, the Charlotte Hornets, and the Chicago Bulls. We're going to handle all three teams in this episode because I know, unfortunately, for those three teams, not that many people care about them, so we're going to group them all up in today's episode, all right? So, guys, I want to say thank you all so very much for tuning in. Podcast listeners, be sure to leave a 5-star rating and review. TikTok, YouTube viewers, be sure to drop a like, follow, subscribe. Share the show with your friends. And Twitch chat, you guys already know, y'all got the easiest job in the whole entire world. All y'all got to do is sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee or an energy drink, and enjoy today's show. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about this first headline that's going around. LeBron James, is he going back to South Beach? Is he taking his talents back to South Beach? Now, let me explain why I'm even bothering talking about this. Well, yesterday on YouTube, accidentally, I'm showing a visual right now, the Miami Heat YouTube channel accidentally scheduled a LeBron James introductory press conference. They scheduled it for July 27th. It's confusing. People are saying that it was an intern mistake. My question is, how do you make a mistake like this? How is this a mistake that you schedule a stream welcoming LeBron James? That's my question. How does that happen? Now, maybe it is just a mistake from an intern. Maybe it is. But it seems like a mistake that shouldn't happen, and that's why it's kind of confusing. So I'm going to go ahead and just briefly talk about the possibilities on whether or not this could be real. Now, judging by the Miami Heat salary, the only way they can get LeBron James back, I can't believe I'm still talking about LeBron James in 2026, about how he's the biggest free agent right now. The only way LeBron James can return to Miami is if he signs a veteran minimum deal, which means LeBron James has to walk in and say, guys, give me the least amount of money that you're allowed to give me. And that's the only way he can join Miami, unless Miami can somehow scam a team and give them Nikola Jovic. That's the only way, because nobody else is really expendable on this roster. So the only guy that they would end up trading is Nikola Jovic. The issue is nobody's going to take on that contract unless you give them multiple picks to just take his contract, which, you know, some young building teams like the Nets could possibly help the Miami Heat and do that. It just depends on how much they actually want to help them. So Miami would only be able to offer him the veteran minimum deal, which for LeBron James would be about just over $3 million. Now, as far as the logistics of LeBron joining team-wise, they're automatically, and I mean automatically, one of my favorites to come out of the East if they do get LeBron. And I know it's crazy to say that because for me, I'm saying they are a top 6 seed in the East. If they're healthy, they're a top 4 seed in the East already. You go ahead and get LeBron James to relieve Davion Mitchell off of ball handling sometimes, to relieve Giannis Antetokounmpo off ball handling sometimes and playmaking. LeBron James's jump shot is nice. We all know that. He's shooting like all-time clips right now from 3, especially his most attempts that he's been taking. Would LeBron James genuinely make them a contender for me in the year of 2026, 2027? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. If a team like Miami gets LeBron James, they are my honest favorite coming out of the East because this team is much deeper than a team like Philadelphia. And having guys like Bam Adebayo, Mr. 83, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's in his prime right now, and then LeBron James, who's in his 7th prime by now. All I have to say is if this leak is true, if this scheduled program on their YouTube channel is legit, and it wasn't just an error by an admin, we might have to start having some uncomfortable conversations, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not taking Miami all that serious. With this roster, I'm not. They're a good team. Fully healthy, they could be a great team. But if they can put the starting lineup at that point would be Davion Mitchell. Who do we want at our 2? Andrew Wiggins? Let's put Andrew Wiggins at our 2. LeBron James at our 3. Giannis Antetokounmpo at our 4. And Bam Adebayo at our 5. Now, the only weak defender in that lineup is LeBron. But don't worry, Davion, Wiggins, Giannis, and Bam would all cover his mistakes. If you can cover Jalen Brunson's mistakes, then you can cover LeBron James's mistakes. I see a guy spamming. What power forward are the Lakers getting? It's not a Lakers episode. Sorry, pal. So that's my honest answer. Logistically speaking, financially speaking, LeBron right now can only join on a veteran minimum unless they somehow scam a team and trade Nikola Jovic. Okay. I think they'd be the best team in the East if they can get LeBron James, even at his age. As long as health is on their side, I don't really think LeBron needs to play more than 50 games in the regular season. So long as Giannis can play his 60 to 70, like he has done in his last 10 years, that's great. That's great. So this interests me. This really interests me. It's so crazy what New York winning did to the whole Eastern Conference as a whole and how much they've shaken up, you know? But that's really all I have to say. Take it with a grain of salt, but the Miami Heat said that they will be welcoming LeBron James on July 27th. That is 5 days from now. If that's real, then somebody's getting fired. Just so we all know, if that is real, it could just be somebody messing with them, right? But if that is real, then somebody's getting fired for their mistake of accidentally leaking it. That's all I really have to say about LeBron James. Except, I have one more. Did you guys know, and this is very funny, did you guys know that Rich Paul, I know you guys probably don't listen to his podcast, but I peek in every now and then just to see what crazy talk he's spewing, because I don't think an agent, one of the biggest agents in the entire professional sports, should have a podcast. But I tuned into his podcast and I saw that the LeBron recruitment story, basically any team that wants LeBron is sending a voice memo on the phone to Rich Paul. And then he then sends it to LeBron James to listen to it. So like the head coaches, the owners, the managers, they're all recording voice memos and giving stories as to why they should join their team. And funny enough, the Minnesota Timberwolves actually, it came out within their upper management that the manager and the owners of the Minnesota Timberwolves, you know what their sales pitch to LeBron James was this summer? In the voice memo, the owner, the primary owner of the Minnesota Timberwolves told LeBron James, LeBron, if you join Minnesota and you can bring us a chip, the question to who is the greatest player of all time gets a lot easier to answer. And he said, let me explain. He told LeBron in the voice memo, think about it this way. No city in the entire country has gone this winless, than Minnesota. I believe their last title that any of their professional sports teams have won was 1991. And it was, I think, help me out. Are they the Minnesota Twins? They're the baseball team. I don't know the name. But I believe they haven't won since 1991. The Timberwolves have never won anything. The Vikings, y'all can vouch for that as well. They have not won a thing since 1991. So he was saying you could end the biggest drought that a city has gone through from any of their teams, the longest in professional sports. So he said you would be the greatest of all time. Oh yeah, didn't the Lynx win? I'm talking men's sports. men's sports. Regardless, that was their sales pitch. So I'm very curious what the Miami sales pitch, what the Cleveland sales pitch. I'm very curious what all of their sales pitch are, because if Minnesota is saying, hey, you'd be the greatest player of all time if you come here and win, I'm very curious to hear what other teams are saying. So it's kind of, if you want my honest opinion, it's kind of goofy that teams are like leaving voicemails and saying, please, LeBron, please join us, please. That's kind of corny. Like, just imagining it, it's kind of weird, bro. It's kind of weird. So yeah, anyways, that's what's happening. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go on and move on to our B block of today's episode. All right. And if you guys are enjoying the show and you guys are enjoying the series, be sure to swing on into the Twitch stream. That's Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. So we're going to be talking about 3 teams today, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be talking about 3 teams, where they're at, where they're going, and how they're looking. Okay. So up first, we're doing 3 teams today, y'all. Our first team up is the Brooklyn Nets. Now, I know everybody's about to swipe off and like turn this off, and you know what I mean? But listen, we'll move with the Brooklyn Nets through with some speed. Last season, they went 20-62. Okay. So there's nowhere to go but up. There's no incentive to be the worst team in the NBA. So what we saw the Brooklyn Nets do this summer is show everybody like, yeah, look, we're not trying to lose. The interesting thing about this team is that they are the most expensive team of these 3 that we're going to be looking at today, as far as top heavy salaries. So not total salary, but top heavy salary. So let's look at their team together. Michael Porter Jr. is on his last year at $41 million. They traded for Julius Randle. He's making $33 million this year, and then a player option for $36 million the next year. Terrence Mann, he's got $15.5 million. They extended Day'Ron Sharpe to $10 million a year. They went and got Mo Wagner for $9.5 million, which I think is an overpay for Mo Wagner. Keon Ellis, they went and got him for $9 million with another team option the next year. Now, I want to show you guys something very interesting with this contract. With all of these contracts, are you guys aware of what the new Nets owner is doing? He's doing something very weird, okay? And I want to explain to you why. I don't know why people aren't talking about him, but everybody's talking about Tom Dundon, the owner of the Carolina Hurricanes, who just won the Stanley Cup, and the new owner of the Portland Trailblazers. Not many people are talking about the owner of the Nets. Are you guys aware of what he's doing? If not, let me explain, because I feel like you guys don't know. I feel like this is going to shock a lot of you. Do you see all these team options? Day'Ron Sharpe, he got extended, team option. Mo Wagner, he got signed, team option. Keon Ellis, he got picked up, team option. Josh Minot got picked up, team option. And then these are all rookies, so of course they have options here. I want to explain to you why these team options are so different than everybody else. You guys know, right? The difference is player option and team option. You guys all know it, but in case you don't, Julius Randle, for example, has a player option for next season, the 2027-2028 season, which means if he wants that money, all he has to say is, all right, guys, I want that money. I'm staying with the team for the next year. It's easy as that. The Nets owner, do you know what he's doing? He created something brand new that's never happened in the NBA before, and nobody's talking about it. Day'Ron Sharpe, Mo Wagner, Keon Ellis, and Josh Minot all have the same structured deal. Basically, they have a team and player option. Now, let me explain. Day'Ron Sharpe, next year, let's say he has an average year. Let's say he has a year that's worth $10 million. The team could say, you know what, Day'Ron, we don't want you, bro. Bye-bye. We're not picking up the team option. We just got report that Victor Wembanyama is the NBA 2K27 cover athlete. People are still buying 2K27, eh? So they could tell Day'Ron Sharpe on the team option, no thank you, Day'Ron. We don't want you back. But then Day'Ron, since it's a team and player option, could say, wait, what? You don't want me back? Well, I don't want to move. I don't want to find a new house. I'm staying. I'm picking up my player option. So you don't need both teams. You don't need both parties to agree to this. Day'Ron Sharpe, this is where it's weird. Day'Ron Sharpe could say, you know what? I am worth so much more than $10 million. I am not picking up my player option. And then the team says, nah, 10 million is a steal. We're picking up your team option. So it's really weird. I've never heard of this before. It's never existed before. And nobody's talked about this. I feel like it's very weird that you can either be held against your will, even if you reject your player option, they can pick up your team option. It's weird. Never heard of this, but that's what the Nets are doing right now. And they've done that with all of their team options for the next season. Anyways, their contracts and the players that they've picked up are interesting. They obviously got Julius Randle. They brought back Day'Ron Sharpe. They picked up Mo Wagner, Keon Ellis, Josh Minot, and then they have a bunch of young guys, right? They have a bunch of young guys. Do I think that they're going to improve? Yes, absolutely. They will get more than 20 wins. Do I think that it's going to be ugly basketball? Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a very bad watch. In fact, the only time I'll be watching Nets games is when there isn't another game to watch, or if they're up against my Pistons. This is going to be a very, very weird watch. You have Michael Porter doesn't pass Jr. You have Julius Randle doesn't pass. You got Terrence Mann, a bunch of guys trying to prove themselves that they still belong in the NBA. You got a bunch of guys on team options, so of course they're going to be sweating. Obviously, you have Michael Brown from the draft, and then Mikal Brown, and then you also got Demon from last year. You still got Clowney. You got Minot, who's a good young talent. Drake Powell, Ben Seraph, like Danny Wolf. You got a lot of decent young guys. So do I see the Brooklyn Nets going crazy? Not really. But here's the interesting part about the Brooklyn Nets. I went and counted this before the stream started, but I forgot how many they have. So let's go ahead and count how many first round picks they have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They have 12 first round picks over the next 7 years. 12. That is insane. And guess what? Second round picks, they probably have just as many, if not more. So Brooklyn has set themselves up very, very well for the future. The issue is they have not really hit on any of their picks as much as they've wanted. So hopefully some of these picks start working out. Yeah, Houston got their pick swap, correct. So hopefully this works out. Hopefully. It should be interesting. But Brooklyn, I think they'll be better than last year. But this is still another building year. As we all know, Brooklyn is horrible at drafting, and it's going to be interesting to see how much they can truly improve. They won't make the play-in. They won't make the playoffs, but they will get more than 20 wins, partly because they're going to be sitting guys out less. Yeah, last year, they had 5 first-round picks, and would you consider Demon a hit? And yeah, I don't know. It was Danny Wolf last year as well. I don't know, man. This guy named Matt in the TikTok said I watched them play in April, and their lineup was awful. It was Seraph, Powell, Johnson, Little, and Intent. Yeah, that's sort of what happens later in the year when tanking was still a thing, but tanking is no longer a thing. Yeah. TikTok, if you guys are enjoying today's show, be sure to swing on into the Twitch stream. That's Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. I think that's really all I have to say about the Brooklyn Nets. You guys see why we're talking about 3 teams this episode, right? Let's go ahead and move on to our next team alphabetically, and that's the Charlotte Hornets. Now, this one's very interesting. The Charlotte Hornets are a very interesting team to talk about. Last year, they won 44 games and they lost 38. It was their best season in a long time. So why is it? Yesterday morning, when I was talking to some guys at the dealership that I was at, why are they so upset? Why are they telling me they're no longer fans of the Charlotte Hornets? Why are they telling me that they're going to be horrible next year? Well, it's because they betrayed their fans. They traded LaMelo Ball. Okay. Now, I don't believe LaMelo Ball was that important to this team. I've made that very, very known. They traded on a generational high. I don't believe LaMelo Ball is going to have a year back-to-back that healthy. I don't think from what I saw about LaMelo Ball is that he can be a leader, considering in the 2 biggest games of his entire NBA career, he shit the bed. He absolutely shit the bed. The only important thing about LaMelo Ball that might be hard to replace is the playmaking. The playmaking was important, but you can supplement that with other guards. The 3-point shooting, you could replace that easily. And guess what? They did. Now, what's interesting about them is only one guy on their entire team next year, which shout out to Kobe White. Only one guy is making at least $25 million next season, which is very interesting. So somebody said he hit the game winner in the TikTok. You are right. Technically, you are right. LaMelo Ball did hit the game winner in that first play-in game. The unfortunate aspect of that is that in his two most important games of his entire NBA season, he absolutely shit the bed. In those two games, in the play-in games, people only look at points, especially kids. They only look at points. He shot 39% from the field and 20% from three. I got to repeat myself. He shot 39% from the field and 20% from three, all while averaging 3 turnovers a game. In his two most important games of his entire NBA career, he took 50 shots. 50. Yes, the layup. Correct. The ceiling was as high as it was ever going to be last year. The Hornets knew it. Now, I want to say something that my Pelicans fan in the Twitch chat, he said, somebody in the TikTok said with 10 assists. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't ignore the positives. I don't. I do not ignore the positives. I really don't. He had 6 turnovers and 15 assists. That is a horrible ratio for those of you that don't know. LaMelo Ball is a bottom 5 defender in the entire NBA. LaMelo Ball, in the two most important games of his entire career, absolutely shit the bed. Now, fans, especially Charlotte fans that I've been speaking to, they see star power and they traded star power for rotational guys. And when you trade star power, fans, of course, are going to be upset. But all in all, I think the Charlotte Hornets are way better off now than they were. They might not, they're probably not going to, no, they're not. They are definitely not going to win 44 games next year. They're 100% not going to win 44 games next year. But their future, and we got to go through this together, their future has never been brighter. You have Brandon Miller, you have Con Knipple, you got Naz Reid, you got Kobe White, you got a bunch of great young guys in Kalkbrenner, Moussa Diabate. Look at how many picks they have. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is just first round picks. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 first round picks. And get this. Second round picks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 second round picks, ladies and gentlemen. Are the Hornets a better team today than they were 3 months ago? No. Are they better set up? Are they better set up? Absolutely. It's not all about drafting well, ladies and gentlemen. TikTok is very upset. It's not all about drafting well. These are all assets that you can go and get bigger names. You're seeing guys traded for second round picks. You're seeing guys traded for first round picks. They have over 35 picks over the next 7 years. That is Oklahoma numbers. That is San Antonio Spurs numbers, ladies and gentlemen. So when I look at this team, Kobe White replaces LaMelo's three-point shooting. Naz Reid replaces LaMelo's three-point shooting. Grayson Allen more than replaces LaMelo Ball's three-point shooting. Dorian Finney-Smith, I think he's going to have a much healthier year this year. He had to get that ankle surgery and he was down for the count. He's also a very good three-point shooter. Royce O'Neal, great defender, great shooter, great pickup. Con Knipple, we all know him. Brandon Miller, we all know him. Trey Mann will be serviceable. Saloon, hopefully he'll improve. Salon, sorry. Pat Connaughton, veteran presence. Moussa Diabate, he's only going to improve. And Mo Gay, they also picked him up with Ryan Kalkbrenner. This team, if I were a Hornets fan, I'm much happier now. I am much happier now. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I hate to say it, the Timberwolves are significantly worse now with LaMelo Ball. And here's the thing. The regular season is going to be a lot of fun for Minnesota Timberwolves fans. The regular season is going to be extremely fun for Minnesota fans. But are you really putting your belief in LaMelo Ball? LaMelo Ball, who's never played a playoff game before. Never. Dorian Finney-Smith is on the Hornets. I don't know why TikTok is so behind on news. DFS is on the Hornets. He was traded. LaMelo Ball has yet to show us that he's a winning player. Yes, LaMelo is young. You're right. And he just had his healthiest year in 5 years. Do I think LaMelo Ball is going to be playing 72 games again next year? No. No. I do not believe he's going to have 72 games. Why do you think the Hornets traded him? His ankles are jello. His defense is worse than Luka Doncic. It's worse than other guys that you've seen around the NBA. And the fact that they got rid of Miles Bridges, he's a great player. But I think he's going to do better in the Suns. And plus, that's all I can talk about Miles Bridges. He played 72 games on limited minutes as well. He played 28 minutes, his lowest minutes of his entire career. I got to repeat myself. He played the lowest minutes in his entire career last year. He was coming off the bench in most games. Not most games, sorry. Some games. Karma, thank you so much for the follow on Twitch. I really do appreciate you. Thank you very, 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 very much. When you look at the West and you look at what LaMelo's going to be doing out there, you guys are happy. You guys are very, very happy that you got rid of LaMelo Ball. Minnesota fans, you should not be happy. And I guarantee the first alley-oop from LaMelo to Anthony Edwards, people are going to say, we're back. We're back. We're back. No. No, I think I'd rather have Naz Reid in the playoffs over LaMelo Ball, even though they're not going to make the playoffs next year. I think play-in is still very real. This team can definitely make the play-in. I'm very excited to watch B. Mill. I'm super excited to watch him. Grayson Allen spams threes, plays defense. Kobe White spams threes. Naz Reid spams threes. Dorian Finney-Smith spams threes. He's going to be healthy. Royce O'Neal spams threes, plays defense. Con Knuckles spams threes, plays defense. Brandon Miller can kill the rim and spam threes. This whole team is still going to be playing their spam three style with Charles Lee at their helm. I'm very excited. I'm very excited. And for those of you that don't know, I currently live in North Carolina, so I do watch a lot of Charlotte games. They're not my team, but I do watch a lot of their games. I was at the Pistons and Hornets brawl. One of the most unforgettable moments, even though it was a regular season game. That was a lot of fun, man. That was a lot of fun. I'm being told that I don't know ball by the TikTok. Well, TikTok, if you guys think I do know ball and you guys want to learn more ball and talk to a community that knows ball and loves balls, TikTok, be sure to come through to the Twitch stream. That's Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. Karma, shout out to you for leaving the TikTok and coming through to the Twitch stream. I appreciate you very, very much. Be sure to join the Discord as well. If I were a Hornets fan, I'm ecstatic. I know it's going to suck that we lost our, quote, star. But believe me, you guys are so much better down the road. You guys are so much better down the road. You guys weren't going to make the playoffs this year with LaMelo Ball. It wasn't going to happen. You guys caught a lot of teams by surprise, and you won those games. Once you stop catching teams by surprise, it doesn't work. So honestly, shout out the Hornets. They did exactly what I predicted them to do the fourth month of the season last year. I said they're going to trade LaMelo Ball. They should trade LaMelo Ball. And, well, they did. We've already talked about LeBron today, folks. Up next, for our third and final team of today's show, we are going to be talking. Oh, by the way, just to reiterate, they're not going to get 44 wins as they did last year. But as I said, I really do see a real possibility of them making the play-in. They can easily make the play-in. Easily. And then they got all those picks. And guys, making the play-in now is good. Making the play-in now, as long as you don't have high expectations for your team. So like the Jazz, if they make the play-in, that's great. If the Wizards, they make the play-in, that's great. If the Hornets make the play-in, that's great because you got great odds to win the draft from the play-in. But if you're a good team and then you fall into the play-in, obviously it's not good. But if you're a mediocre team and you surprise people and you make the play-in, that's great. That's a great thing. We did the Brooklyn Nets. We did the Charlotte Hornets. Now let's move on to our third and final team, and that is the Chicago Bulls, who went 31-51 last year. This was the team I was most excited to talk about. The Windy City Deep Dish Pizza, Chirac. We're talking about the Chicago Bulls. Now, they went 31-51 last year. And they've made a lot of moves over the last year, and something that I'm very happy about. Bulls fans, this is going to be one of the more positive notes. I mean, Charlotte, that was a pretty positive topic that I discussed. But for the Bulls, I've been really excited to talk about you guys. So I'm gonna relish in this conversation, okay? Let's just go through your team right now because the most expensive salary on your entire roster is the Giddler, Josh Giddey, $25 million. and he's locked in until through 2029. You guys went and picked up Nick Claxton, which I don't hate. He's lost his bounce. He's lost his pogo stick, which he's very famous for. Hopefully he can get that back with the Bulls. I don't mind that contract. It is expensive. But they offered him for free, and you guys really aren't paying anybody. So I don't hate that pickup. I don't hate that pickup. I love that comment about the Hornets, but unfortunately we did move on, 007. Next, they went and picked up Norman Powell. Norman Powell is going to be great for the Bulls. Norman Powell is going to be like, if they picked up Norman Powell, you know what I think of Norman Powell? You know, I think his best comp is to a player. Now, I know the volume isn't the same because of eras. Call me crazy, but I think Norman Powell, obviously he's got a better resume than the guy I'm about to name because he made an all-star. Norman Powell's Ben Gordon from 15 years ago. I was thinking about that the other day, and I was praising God that the Pistons didn't go and get Norman Powell because I was getting flashbacks of when the Pistons went and picked up Ben Gordon from the Bulls. Think about it this way. Ben Gordon didn't play defense, and all he did was spam threes. Norman Powell doesn't play defense, and all he does is spam threes. And I just think of their play style. I think of their jump shot form. Very, very similar things. Now, if we can get Ben Gordon from back in the day and put that into Norman Powell, I think he's going to be a ball stopper for one. But I think, personally, Norman Powell is going to win you a bunch of games this year. He's going to get wins in the win column, which is a great thing for the Bulls. Your goal should be make the play-in this year. You won't, but your goal should be to make the play-in. And I think Norman Powell will help that. Now, obviously, the biggest hiccup, the biggest blemish on this entire roster is Patrick Williams. I don't want to talk about Patrick Williams. I'm sure you guys have seen the Kenny Beecham clip from his podcast. They always go over the worst player in the NBA, and it's like the guy with actual rotation minutes. They always talk about like the guy who actually provides every negative, the most negatives in the entire NBA. And this year was Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams, 18 million, and he's got a player option through 2029. I can't speak about this contract anymore. I've spoken about this contract so much. I'm just going to leave it at that. Horrible. I don't think they'll ever be able to get off of him until his final year. I'm sorry, Big Patrick, but you don't look like an NBA player. And you never have, and yet they gave you that contract. You got Isaac Okoro. Isaac Okoro. I'll skip over that name right there. Jalen Smith, Zach Collins, who they did pick up again. Trey Jones, Rob Dillingham from the trade. Montez Buzelis, my GOAT. Asange. You got Dalen Swain. And one of my sneaky pickups is Leonard Miller. If you guys were watching Leonard Miller at the end of last season, he was in the Minnesota trade. Leonard Miller is a fun guy. Dude, I think he's going to be nice. I like Leonard Miller. He came into the NBA super raw, and I think he's going to provide actual minutes over Patrick Williams, I hope. I really like Leonard Miller, and I think he's going to do some fun things for this team. Now, the guy who I skipped over, Caleb Wilson. Can I just say, Billy Donovan, I'm so happy you're gone. I'm so happy you're not the head coach anymore. There's nothing that makes me happier as far as coaches go. Like, I think the only thing that would have made me happy, no, I'm not going to say it. I'm very happy that Billy Donovan is no longer the head coach for the Chicago Bulls. Because, in case you are unaware of what Montez Buzelis was dealing with for his first 2 years of the NBA, Billy Donovan punishes young guys. If they mess up, he takes them out. And the issue is, that's okay. Just put them back in after you tell them what they did wrong. But he doesn't. I have watched so many Bulls games over the last few years. And with Billy Donovan, if they make a mistake, he just benches them. They stopped even asking him, Billy, when you benched so-and-so, why did they not come? They stopped asking him. He just benched them. He just benches them. That's it. I'm very happy that they went and picked up Tiago Splitter. I think he's a good player coach. I think he's going to be really, really good. Do you think he's going to run the young guys? Obviously, they're all young guys, but I think he's going to really focus on the young guys. Precisely, Liam. I fully agree with that comparison of Jordan Hawkins to Willie. Yeah, I fully agree with Willie Green. The guy I skipped over, Caleb Wilson. I think we're all in agreement. This guy's, he's going to be him. The mentality this kid has, the verticality he has, the athleticism that he has, and now all of a sudden, his confidence in his three-point stroke. He said that he was going to the gym every day this summer and taking 2,000 three-pointers a day. 2,000 three-pointers a day. Asar, Amen, I'm looking at y'all right now. He's taking 2,000 threes a day to practice, to get better. You can do it too. Look at what he was doing in the summer league. Summer league is different. I think Caleb Wilson is going to be a star. And I don't want to get Bulls fans out here. I don't think he's going to be efficient from three, but if we're looking at 33% as a rookie, who they said would not be shooting threes at all for his first year, that is excellent. Now, Bulls fans, take this with a grain of salt. Take this with a grain of salt. I might sound crazy here, but I was bored one day. And I went back and watched the Michael Jordan tape. And then I was like, wait a second. This jump shot looks so familiar. Guys, Bulls fans, listen, I don't want to get y'all that excited. But the top, when the ball reaches the apex, the climax of his form, I promise you, I'm not saying he's going to be Michael Jordan. I'm not saying that. But he's drafted to the Chicago Bulls. And I promise you, go watch their jump shots. Go watch them. That's all I'll say. Go watch them. Bulls fans, I temper your excitement, okay? Temper your excitement. Mick Patty, I'd love to see you come through to the Twitch stream, bro. Come through. You're active as hell on the TikTok. Come through to the Twitch, bro. JC Uncut. You watch 3 Twitch streams in a row, and I'll gift you a $6 subscription. Beezy, unfortunately, you just missed the Miami talk. I don't think there's I don't think there's such thing as a bad take. All I'm talking about visuals, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about visuals. They look alike. That's all I can say. Point blank period. I'm very excited for the Bulls' future. They also have 12. I don't think they have 12. Never mind. I think they have 7 first round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They have 9 first round picks, which is great. And they got some second round picks. I really do believe the Chicago Bulls can have a lot of fun. I think they can have a lot of fun. And I think fans are going to enjoy this year much more than last year. I think they will. It's going to be interesting. And that's a great point, Moose. Moose is my Bulls fan in the Twitch stream. And he said, I'm looking to see if he gets as much air on his jump shot as he gets separation on his J. I fully agree. It'll be interesting to see, but I really do believe that Matas Buzelis should see a lot of improvement this year. I think Caleb Wilson's going to have a great rookie year, definitely in the rookie of the year conversation. And Josh Giddey, bro, he's a great defending tall point guard that can facilitate. I think he's going to be great for this young team. And I'm excited to see Nick Claxton try to have a revival of his career. And all of this is to say Norm Powell is going to help stretch that floor and just spam threes, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think Matas and Caleb Wilson, that's great. I think all this year has to be is let's play through our young guys and see what we have, man. Let's see what we have. And that's why I think this year is a lot more important than last year, because with Billy Donovan, you knew it was just going to be another, especially when they started the year 5-0. You knew it was just going to be another year of running the same guys back, but this is a completely different roster from the start of last season to this season. So shout out to the Chicago Bulls, man. I just want to see them back on top again. The Bulls being good will be good for basketball. It's sort of like, in my opinion, when the Knicks are good at basketball, it's good for basketball. When the Pistons are good at basketball, it's good for basketball. I'm really excited to watch how the Chicago Bulls play. My expectation, obviously, is not going to be a play-in team. They're not going to be a playoff team. They're not going to be either. Could they somehow? No, they can't. No, they are not going to be a play-in team. But I'm really excited to watch them. And I think Bulls fans, you should rejoice, because this year, it's all about player development. It's about, let's see what we got and what we can do with what we got. So shout out all my Bulls fans in here. I think you guys should be very excited. Out of all the teams that I talked about, I think all of these franchises should be excited about today's episode. We talked about the Brooklyn Nets and what they got. The issue with them is just drafting. They're not great at drafting. The Charlotte Hornets, obviously, we talked about them. I think the Charlotte Hornets fans should be excited, as hard as it is that you traded your star. I think you guys should be excited about your team as well. And then, of course, the Chicago Bulls. I'm excited for all three of these teams because tanking is dead. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch these teams just thrive. Um, yeah, I think all three teams got bright futures. I really do. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, our next episode on Friday, unless something big happens, the B block of that episode is going to be let me just make sure who our next three teams are. So it's the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Dallas Mavericks, and the Denver Nuggets. I feel like we can combine a couple of those, maybe. Not the Nuggets. Hell, not the Cavs. I think we can throw the Mavs in one of those two. We can do like Cleveland and Dallas, or Denver and Dallas, one or the other. But we got some interesting teams coming up. And I'm excited to talk about all of this, man. I'm excited to talk about all this. I like the series, and we got plenty more series coming up for the rest of the summer. If you guys did miss the first part of today's podcast, we discussed the Miami Heat. With the leak of LeBron James being scheduled to be announced at his press conference on July 27th. And I talked about the logistics of that. I talked about what I would rank them as a contender with that if that were to happen. He would have to take a veteran minimum. I talked about the possibilities, what they can do in order to get him on a non-minimum. And I talked about how good they'd be if they were to get LeBron versus how good they'd be without LeBron. So all in all, I think it's a very interesting episode. I hope you guys do tune in and listen and watch on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple. We are posting them immediately after we end today's podcast. So I do want to say thank you all so much, as always, for tuning in. TikTok, if you guys did enjoy today's show, we are still live on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/JZ Uncut. If you don't want to look up JZ Uncut on Google, just click my little profile picture up there, or right here. Click my profile picture and click the link in my bio, and that will take you to the Twitch stream. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you all so much for tuning in, and I hope you guys do come through to the Twitch stream. If you guys watch 3 Twitch streams in a row, I will personally gift you a $6 subscription. Shout out to Karma, and shout out to Bert, who just came through to the Twitch stream. Be sure to join the Discord as well, fellas. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I got nothing left to say, except for I will catch you guys Friday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. I got nothing left to say, so just thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. As always, guys, thank you for watching/listening, and I will catch you guys Friday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. Love y'all, and have a blessed rest of your day.